What if I told you that the life you're settling for isn't the one you were meant to live? The Stoics believe that suffering comes not from circumstance, but from our own choices, including the choice to accept less than we deserve. Are you mistaking fear for caution, endurance for wisdom, discomfort for destiny? If so, you might be stuck in a life you never consciously chose. Here are 7 Stoic signs you're settling for less than you should, and what you can do about it. Stoic sign number 1. You mistake endurance for virtue. Stoicism teaches resilience, but resilience without wisdom is just self-imposed suffering. Enduring pain, hardship, or toxic situations doesn't make you stronger, it only makes you accustomed to them. Marcus Aurelius endured great difficulties, but he didn't seek misery. He ruled with wisdom, knowing when to persist and when to change course. Are you enduring because it serves a purpose, or because you're afraid of what change might bring? The danger of wearing struggle as a badge of honor. Many people believe that pushing through discomfort, no matter what, is a sign of strength. They stay in unfulfilling jobs, toxic relationships, or uninspired routines, telling themselves, this is just how life is. But the Stoics would challenge this mindset. Seneca reminds us that life is not just about surviving, it's about living well. If your endurance leads only to exhaustion and not to growth, is it truly virtuous? Ask yourself, is your persistence leading you somewhere, or just keeping you stuck? Stoic endurance is strategic, not blind. True Stoic endurance isn't about tolerating everything. It's about enduring what matters. Epictetus taught that we should accept what we cannot change, but he never said to accept less than we deserve. If an obstacle stands between you and a meaningful goal, endure and overcome. If an obstacle is keeping you in a meaningless cycle, it's time to step away. So, are you enduring something because it serves your higher purpose? Or because you've convinced yourself you have no other choice? Choose growth over stagnation. The next time you tell yourself, I just have to endure this, pause and ask, is this making me better or just keeping me stuck? A Stoic doesn't endure for the sake of endurance. They endure with purpose, or they walk away with wisdom. Stoic sign number 2, you let fear write your life script. Fear is subtle. It doesn't always scream. It whispers. It tells you to stay in that unsatisfying job because at least it's stable. It convinces you that a toxic relationship is better than being alone. It urges you to put off your dreams until the right time. Seneca warned us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Yet, how many times have you let imagined fears hold you back? The Stoic truth. Safety is an illusion. Many people settle not because they want to, but because they think they're choosing security. But here's the Stoic truth. Security doesn't exist. Jobs disappear. Relationships end. Circumstances change whether you fear it or not. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The problem isn't uncertainty, it's your reaction to it. Are you living by your values or by your fears? The cost of letting fear decide for you. Every time you choose comfort over growth, fear wins. Every time you say, I'll do it later, fear gets stronger. Every time you avoid taking action because you're afraid to fail, you fail anyway, just more quietly. Epictetus taught that true freedom comes from controlling your perceptions, not avoiding discomfort. If fear is keeping you from making a necessary change, ask yourself, what's the absolute worst that could happen? Will this matter in 5 years? Am I choosing fear or am I choosing strength? Face it, analyze it, move forward. The Stoics didn't ignore fear, they dissected it. They questioned it. They moved through it. Fear isn't a stop sign. It's just a test. If you're waiting for the right time, let me be clear. It's never coming. The right time is the moment you decide to act. Live. Don't wait. Think of something you've been avoiding because of fear. What if you faced it today? Fear only wins if you let it. A Stoic wins by acting despite it. So ask yourself, who's writing your life script? You or your fears? Stoic sign number 3, You confuse being rational with being a doormat. Many people think Stoicism teaches passivity, that being calm means accepting whatever happens, even when it's unfair. But Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, not by letting people walk all over him, but by mastering himself and leading with wisdom. A Stoic doesn't lash out, but they also don't tolerate disrespect. They don't waste energy on anger, but they also don't mistake silence for strength. Are you keeping the peace, or are you losing yourself in the process? The difference between rationality and weakness. Being rational doesn't mean ignoring mistreatment. It means responding with reason, not emotion. If someone crosses your boundaries, do you explain calmly and enforce them? Or do you stay silent to avoid conflict? If someone manipulates or disrespects you, do you address it with clarity? Or do you let it slide to keep the peace? If your boss, friend, or partner takes advantage of your kindness, do you call it patience, or are you just avoiding discomfort? Seneca reminds us that true wisdom includes self-respect. Being virtuous doesn't mean being a victim. How the Stoics handled conflict. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal. Seneca dealt with political corruption. Epictetus was once a slave. Yet none of them tolerated mistreatment. They practiced self-control, not self-sacrifice. When someone insults you, you don't have to react emotionally, but you also don't have to accept it. When people try to manipulate you, you don't need to fight them, but you also don't have to stay silent. Being a Stoic means choosing how you respond, but it never means allowing others to treat you as less than you are. Respect yourself first, the world will follow. If you don't respect yourself, why should anyone else? If you don't stand firm in your values, others will bend you to theirs. Epictetus taught that we can control our actions, not how others treat us, but we can choose what we tolerate. So the next time you tell yourself you're just being rational, ask, am I choosing wisdom or avoiding confrontation? Am I calm or am I quietly allowing disrespect? If I were advising a friend in my situation, would I tell them to stand up for themselves? Strength and stillness, not surrender. Stoicism isn't about suffering in silence. It's about responding with wisdom, enforcing boundaries with confidence, and never mistaking endurance for self-betrayal. So next time someone tests your limits, will you be a Stoic or a doormat? Stoic sign number 4, you numb yourself instead of fixing the problem. Stoicism teaches us to face life head-on. But today, whenever we feel uncomfortable, we have an easy way out, scrolling endlessly. Binge watching, overindulging, or drowning ourselves in noise. We tell ourselves we're just relaxing, but deep down we know the truth. We're avoiding something. Feeling stuck in life? Open TikTok. Unhappy with your job? Watch another episode. Lonely? Scroll through highlight reels of other people's lives. Marcus Aurelius warned us, you could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow. How many times have you numbed yourself with distractions instead of addressing what actually needs fixing? Why we choose numbing over action. Facing our problems means admitting they exist. It requires effort, change, and sometimes painful realizations. Escaping into distractions is easier than dealing with reality, but avoidance has a cost. The more you escape, the more powerless you feel. The longer you put off fixing your situation, the deeper the dissatisfaction grows. Ask yourself, what am I pretending isn't a problem? What am I avoiding by numbing myself? The Stoic alternative, facing reality head-on. Epictetus taught that peace doesn't come from escaping reality. It comes from mastering it. Instead of numbing discomfort, a Stoic uses it as fuel for action. If you're unhappy with your career, scrolling won't fix it. Planning your next step will. If you feel disconnected, watching influencers won't help. Reaching out to real people will. If your life lacks meaning, drowning in entertainment won't fill the void. Pursuing virtue will. Take back control. Next time you reach for your phone, pause. Ask yourself, am I choosing distraction over progress? What problem am I avoiding right now? If I were truly living by Stoic principles, what would I do instead? Distractions will always be there. Your life, however, won't wait forever. Will you numb yourself, or will you fix the problem? Stoic sign number 5. You call it acceptance, but it's really settling. A common misconception about Stoicism is that it promotes passive acceptance, that Stoics just sit back and let life unfold without making any effort to change. This is not true. Stoicism isn't about passivity, it's about knowing when to accept and when to take action. The Stoics accepted the things they could not change, but they never accepted things that were within their power to improve. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." So when you tell yourself you're just accepting your circumstances, ask, are you really accepting or are you settling? The difference between acceptance and settling. Acceptance is the ability to embrace reality as it is, the things you cannot change like the weather, the past, or the actions of others. It's about letting go of unnecessary suffering over things outside of your control. But settling is different. Settling is about tolerating something that you can change, but fear or laziness holds you back from doing so. It's giving up your potential because you're afraid to act. Here is a question to reflect on. What are you accepting that you could change, but haven't? What you can control, your choices and actions. You don't control everything, but you do control what matters most. Your career. You can choose to stay in a job you hate because it's safe, or you can take a risk and seek work that aligns with your values. The people in your life. You can choose to tolerate toxic relationships, or you can set boundaries and choose healthier connections. Your reactions to challenges. You can choose to complain about obstacles, or you can take them as opportunities for growth. The Stoics were not about enduring misery without end. They were about enduring with purpose and taking action when necessary. The trap of fear disguised as acceptance. The line between acceptance and settling is often blurred by fear. Fear of change, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. It's easier to tell yourself that you're just accepting things as they are, rather than admit you're afraid to take the next step. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." But freedom also means choosing to act on what lies within our control. Fear shouldn't be an excuse to let opportunities pass by. Stop settling, start acting. Think about the areas of your life where you've been accepting circumstances that you could change. Are you truly accepting or are you settling? Ask yourself, is there something in my life that I could change today but haven't because I'm afraid? What would my life look like if I made a bold move and took control instead of settling? Remember, Stoicism is about living with purpose. If you're settling for less than you deserve, it's time to act. Don't confuse acceptance with fear-driven inaction. Start making the changes you know you need to. Stoic sign number 6. You've become everyone's emotional janitor? How many times have you found yourself listening to someone unload their emotional baggage, only to feel emotionally drained yourself? Do people constantly seek you out for advice, sympathy, or comfort, even at the expense of your own peace? While Stoicism encourages helping others, it also emphasizes the importance of setting healthy boundaries. If you're constantly shouldering others' emotional burdens, you may be confusing your role as a helper with that of an emotional caretaker. Epictetus taught that the only emotions you should manage are your own. You cannot carry the emotional weight of the world without sacrificing your own stability. The fine line between helping and enabling. In Stoicism, we are encouraged to assist others with wisdom and compassion, but we must never become responsible for their emotional chaos. If you're constantly resolving problems for others, you might be inadvertently robbing them of the opportunity to solve their own challenges. The key question to ask is, am I helping this person, or am I enabling their inability to manage their emotions? Helping someone grow means guiding them, not rescuing them. It's important to provide insight, but not to assume the emotional load that rightfully belongs to them. The Stoic way. Lead by example, not by carrying the burden. Stoicism is about leading by example. A true Stoic does not dive into the emotional turmoil of others, but instead, they model emotional resilience, self-control, and wisdom. When others see how you manage your emotions, they may be inspired to take control of their own. Instead of being a crutch for everyone around you, be the person who shows them how to stand on their own. Remember what Marcus Aurelius wrote? You have power over your mind, not outside events. You cannot control other people's emotions, nor should you try. The dangers of becoming an emotional sponge. Taking on everyone's problems may seem noble at first, but over time it leads to emotional burnout. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Are you sacrificing your mental well-being for the comfort of others? Is your energy being drained by people who refuse to manage their own emotions? Are you inadvertently teaching others to depend on you for emotional stability, rather than equipping them to find it within themselves? Set boundaries for your well-being. Take a moment to reflect. Are you playing the role of an emotional janitor for people who can solve their own problems? If you're constantly putting out fires for others, it's time to ask yourself, what am I neglecting in my own life by focusing on others' emotions? How can I help those around me without losing myself in their struggles? Am I empowering others to manage their own emotions, or am I enabling their emotional dependence? The next time someone dumps their emotional mess on you, ask, am I helping or am I enabling? Set the boundaries necessary to protect your peace and show others how to find their own emotional balance. You're not their emotional janitor. You're a Stoic, and your strength comes from mastering your own emotions, not carrying theirs. Stoic sign number 7. You're waiting for the right time to live. How many times have you put off pursuing a goal because you were waiting for the perfect conditions? I'll start when I have more money. I'll change careers when I'm more confident. I'll travel when I have fewer responsibilities. This mentality leads us to live in the future instead of the present. The Stoics, however, teach us that the right time is always now. The perfect moment doesn't arrive. You create it by acting today. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, you could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow. How many tomorrows have you chosen instead of today? The cost of waiting for perfect conditions. The pursuit of the right time is really just an excuse to delay. When you wait for everything to align, you risk never starting at all. You tell yourself that the conditions aren't perfect, but the truth is, they never will be. Life is unpredictable, and waiting for everything to be ideal is a trap. Seneca warned us about procrastination. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. By postponing the things that matter, we lose the time we already have. Ask yourself, what have I been putting off because I'm waiting for the right time? What could I start today, even if the conditions aren't perfect? The Stoic solution: act now, not later. The Stoics didn't wait for the ideal conditions to do the right thing. They created them through action. Epictetus taught us to focus on what's within our control and let go of the rest. This means that instead of waiting for circumstances to align perfectly, you take action with what you have right now. If you want to improve your health, don't wait for the perfect workout plan. Just start walking today. If you want to write a book, don't wait for inspiration, write a page today. If you want to change careers, don't wait until you feel 100% ready. Take the first step today. The Stoic mindset isn't about waiting for the universe to align with your wishes. It's about aligning yourself with action. The paralysis of perfectionism. Waiting for the right time is often rooted in the fear of imperfection. Perfectionism paralyzes action. The Stoics, however, embrace the idea that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By waiting for everything to be perfect, you block your path and miss the lessons found in the journey. Imperfection is a natural part of growth. Ask yourself, am I waiting for perfection, or am I taking action despite imperfection? Start today, not tomorrow. Think about the goal you've been postponing. The dream, the change, the passion project you keep telling yourself you'll do someday. That someday is today. Ask yourself, what's one small action I can take today to move toward the life I want? What am I waiting for? Why haven't I started yet? How would my life change if I stopped waiting for the right time and made today the start of something new? Remember, waiting for the right time is the enemy of action. Stoicism teaches that the only moment that matters is now. Start living today, not when the stars align, but when you decide to take control of your life and begin. Settling isn't just about staying in a comfort zone. It's about accepting mediocrity and letting fear dictate your choices. The Stoics didn't settle for less than their best. They embraced challenges, acted with purpose, and lived with integrity. If you recognize any of these signs in your life, ask yourself, what step can I take today to break free from settling? Because a Stoic doesn't wait for change. They create it. If this resonated with you, drop a like and let me know in the comments what you're ready to change today. And don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic insights to help you live intentionally. Take control and make your next move count.